Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told how to voice the radio, and today I'm in a bit of two minds. On the one hand, we've got a lot of news about Pokémon GO, it looks awesome, I am delighted. On the other hand, I totally just made a video which I've now got to basically rip apart, and I can use them about 1/3 of, because this news today has kind of stepped on the toes of that video, which I finished making like 20 minutes before this news came out, so cheers for that. However, on balance, I think I can be a pretty happy bunny. What we've got is a whole bunch of news about the Pokémon GO TCG set, so let's start off with actual confirmation of the free Radiant Pokémon. We figured they were coming, we saw them before, they are now here, they are official, we've got renders of the cards, and I kind of like these. Though I will say, my feelings about these as playable cards remain basically the same as they have been all along. Radiant Blastoise, I think, is a very good card, because you can discard a water energy to put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench, and free energy 170 is actually kind of nice, because when combined with Choice Bout and the ability, you are actually going to be doing a decent amount of damage, KOing the majority of Pokemon V with a single prize Pokemon, and you've got stuff like Palkia, which will get the energy on really easily, etc. So, yeah, I actually like this quite a lot, honestly. This is pretty cool. I think it's the weakest of the three, though. I think Charizard is very specialized, but in any deck that is playing Fire Energy, or any energy that could count as Fire Energy, I think it's great. Because, essentially, the energy cost comes down by 1 for each prize card your opponent's taken. So by the time they've taken 4 prize cards, for a single energy you're doing 250, enough to KO basically any Pokemon V. And then you add a Choice Bout and you do 280, which is pretty much enough to KO any Pokemon V Star, at least of the ones we've seen so far. And yeah, this is actually brilliant. I really, really like this one. But I still think Radiant Venusaur's the star of them. Not a huge fan of the attack, 90 damage plus burn, confusion and poison. It's fine, but I'm not loving it. However, I should say you can use Cherryman, you can use Gardenia's Vigor, so if you want to get the energy on, it's actually not that difficult to get energy on, which is quite nice. I just don't think it's a particularly great attack regardless, although the special conditions can get super annoying. What I really like here is the ability Sunny Bloom. At the end of your turn, after you attack, you can draw until you have 4 cards in your hand. I think this is absolutely crazy, over-the-top, stunning good. And actually, when I told you about this the other day, I didn't mention Hisuian Arcanine. That's the one where you do 160 damage for 0 energy if you got 0 cards in hand. Seems like a bit of an oversight on my part, given how excited I am by this card. So let me mention it now. It's going to be great in that deck. And the deal here is extremely simple. If there is a particular Radiant Pokemon you want to use, yeah, use it. If there isn't, this should be, you can only play 1 Radiant Pokemon in your deck. This should be your go-to Radiant Pokemon. If you don't know which one to play, it should be Radiant Venusaur. This draw is brilliant. There is a really interesting rulings question here, and that is, do you draw cards before taking prizes or not? And I don't have a perfect answer to that at the moment. What I will tell you is, if you draw before taking prizes, it is a much, much better card than if you draw after taking prizes. So those are the Radiant Pokemon. Also worth showing, I suppose, the Mewtwo V. I don't really have much to add about this. It is the alternate art that we saw before. We've just got a nice clear look at it now. I still wish a lot of these alternate arts, pretty much all of them so far, what we've seen is basically Pokemon coming along and going, hey, you're a really good artist. Here's a Pokemon. Go nuts with this particular Pokemon. And it makes me sad they haven't done that here. It's a 3D render. I don't think it's as good. But do remember, we've got the regular Mewtwo in the set. And we've got the alternate art that came in the V-Battle deck. And we've got the full art, which is coming in the Elite Trainer box. So if you want to play Mewtwo, the good news is we do actually now have 4 different prints of Mewtwo V from this one set. So if you want to be playing a playset of all different artwork, hey, now you totally can. Now, I showed you Dragonite V-Star the other day. This was shown on a poster over in Hong Kong and Taiwan. I've got Dragonite here for you again, but things are getting a little bit weird. Because this is very, very clearly a promo Dragonite V-Star, and we know that in two ways. First of all, it's literally promo number Sword and Shield 236. It's literally numbered as a promo. Secondly, the artwork is different to the one I showed you the other day that came off that poster. And what is really interesting to note here, and this has been a little bit of a theme running through, regular Dragonite doesn't have the Pokemon GO stamp on, but the alternate art promo here does. Incidentally, we've seen that multiple times. So I showed you Mewtwo a moment ago. The regular set version doesn't have the stamp. The alternate art from the V-Battle deck does. And you can see that in Alolan Executor and Melmetal, which I'm not going to show you because I think I've made my point. Here's the thing. We have absolutely no idea where this is coming. Now, as it stands, there is actually a single product which has been announced, but they haven't shown us anything about it. They've literally just given us a name on a press release. We don't know what it is. It is coming on September the 30th. It is, as it stands, the final Pokemon GO product, coming a month after the Pokeball Tins, which are the penultimate ones. It's the Pokemon GO Premier Deck Holder Collection. Now, it's called the Premier Deck Holder Collection. Could it have promos of both Dragonite V-Star and Dragonite V? Yeah, that's been revealed as well. Quite possibly, that's my prediction at the moment. And the reason my prediction is very simple. We know that both Dragonite V-Star and Dragonite V are alternate art promos. We know that because A, they're stamped with the Pokemon GO logo, and the regular Vs and V-Stars in the set are not. And B, way more importantly, they literally are numbered promos. Now, if they're not in this deck holder collection, I'd have no idea where they're coming from. We have absolutely no idea. I don't know. This is the best I can tell you. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. Of course, they will be in the set proper. Again, we've seen the regular art of Dragonite V-Star. We know it's in the set. Now we've seen the alternate art. Dragonite V-Star, I told you that 4 energy 250 is quite nice, but it's a lot of energy. And then Draconic Star that lets you look at the top 12 cards of your deck and attach any number of water or lightning you find to your Pokemon in any way you like is fun, but it could absolutely miss. And if it does miss, you've wasted your V-Star power. That's a once per game kind of thing. I think it's fair to say that it's not an ideal situation to be in. I'm not a huge fan. We do now, like I said, have a good look at Dragonite V. Water, Lightning, 60 damage, discarded energy from your opponent's active. Water, Lightning, colorless, 160. It's not great. What I will say, though, is turn 1 going second, if you attach a Lightning energy to Dragonite V, you can then use Melanie to get this as a turn 1 attack, and then that could KO something like a Sobble, or it could just undo your opponent's energy attachment from turn 1, and maybe that could end up being kind of good. I don't think it's stunning, let me be clear, but I do think there is a use for it. I think it's fair to say if you want to be playing Dragonite, I mean, honestly, I think the Dragonite V from Evolving Skies isn't just better than this V. I think it's better than the V-Star, honestly. Okay, I say from Evolving Skies. The full art and the special art are from Evolving Skies. Remember, the regular was just a promo. It was just a promo card. But I think Dragon Gale for free energy is just better than anything the others have. Nice to have it, though. Unconfirmed where that's coming. I'm guessing the Pokemon GO Premier Deck Holder Collection. Just to be clear, it is unconfirmed. We do not know exactly where that's coming. That is very, very important. What we do know where they're coming is alternate art promos of Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. There are alternate art promos of these, and none of them are good. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about them. They're not terribly great cards. What is kind of cool is that all of these promo cards feature them giving you a gift. I kind of like that. And these are, of course, promos being given out in particular products. I kind of like that they're giving out gifts. Shout out particularly to Squirtle, who is kind of running down in the water, holding the gift. That's just kind of a pro move. Also, Kuramitsu is one of those new artists that is absolutely setting themselves apart, and this is beautiful, beautiful artwork. No Higanosuke or Okacheke artwork today to share, which is a little bit sad, but I think we'll probably get over it. Now, these have been confirmed to be coming into pin collections. That was my prediction, and incidentally, I predicted this in the video I've now had to basically cancel, but it's now been actually confirmed because over on Twitter, Pokemon TCG did send out a tweet saying, "Greetings, a gift-bearing Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle arrive in Pokemon TCG Pokemon GO pin collections. Each collection includes a playable promo card and enamel pin, along with booster packs from the Pokemon GO expansion. Unconfirmed, but these pin collections pretty much always contain pin, promo, free boosters. Expect that to be the case." What is kind of weird is that in the tweet they say Q3, but we have a release date for these. We know that the pin collections are actually coming on August the 5th, because we've literally been told that was in an earlier press release. So if you want to know the release date, it's August the 5th, you get one of these. For what it's worth, there is also regular set versions of these. These are alternate art promos. Again, I have nothing really to say about them, but there is a So-So Bulbasaur and a So-So Squirtle, and I know that many people collect that particular artist and will be absolutely delighted. It is worth pointing out we were also shown the Wartortle, Charmeleon, and Ivysaur. Again, I'm not going to go into much detail here, although the Wartortle is also Kuramitsu, and I very much appreciate that, purely because they're not terribly interesting cards, and we've got a lot to talk about. Like the fully evolved Pokemon. Now, we'd already seen the Charizard. Charizard has got that ability that turns each fire energy attached to any of your Pokemon into double fire energy. Also, while we're here, and I've talked about this to a bunch of people, when we got the Pokemon GO set, I want it, and I've mentioned this in a bunch of videos, in fact, I want it to look like Pokemon GO. So cards like this Charizard, where I'm like, hey, that's Pokemon GO, loving it. Not all the cards in this set do that. Some of them could have been picked from any set whatsoever, and that does make me a little bit sad. Nothing we can do about that, but I do really appreciate it when we got these cards that look like they're straight out of the game. That makes me quite happy. Do remember that Charizard has a phenomenal combination with Magma Basin, which lets you attach an extra fire energy during your turn. So essentially you can attach 2 energy, which is 4 energy. I like this ability on Charizard, though I don't think we've got a great partner for it. And honestly, the best partner for Charizard may well be either Charizard V-Star or Charizard V-Max, which is honestly a little bit weird. Either way, it's there, and it may well end up being very cool in the future. Now, the Blastoise is new. We've not seen that one before. This one's got a really nice ability with a huge asterisk. Vitality Spring says once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 6 energy cards. Special note here, it says energy, not basic energy, so that gets you any special energy you want from your deck, and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. But it ends your turn. It is a phenomenal ability, and I don't think there's much of a counter-argument here. It is a phenomenal ability, but it ends your turn and it's a stage 2, so you basically need to get your stage 2 into play and then be willing to end your turn in order to make this work. That is not an ideal situation by any stretch. If it's a basic Pokemon that goes and ends your turn, cool. We've seen that on, like, Zacian. That's fine. But the fact that this is going to be minimum turn 2, and often later, that is a little bit awkward. What I will say is, if it's mid to late game and you've got nothing going on, this Blastoise can be an absolute lifesaver. As for the attack here, what we've got is 4 energy minimum, 90 damage, plus 30 more for each water energy. If you've got 4 water energy, you're hitting 210, which will get most Pokemon V. 5 will get all of them. You can get up to KOing Pokemon V-Star here, but the problem is you've got to have 10 water energy, and then you'll be hitting 290. It's possible, but this takes too long to add up. I'm not a huge fan of this Blastoise, although I do think the art is awesome. And of course, if we're going to have them, we need to have Venusaur coming in as well. And 4 energy, 130 with Solar Beam, less said about that, the better. But the ability is the awesomely named Loopy Lasso. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. The new active Pokemon is asleep and poisoned. I really like this. You've got to get your stage 2 out, which is awkward. And it's flippy, which is awkward. But that is a super powerful ability. You know, just earlier today I showed you Alola Raticate, which will, for free energy, take your opponent's active down to 10 HP remaining. So there's a phenomenal combo here. Flip heads on Venusaur, you drag any Pokemon into the active and they're poisoned, so Raticate will take them down to 10 HP remaining and then they'll get KO'd by poison. That's amazing, but it's on a stage 2 and it takes a coin flip. You have been warned. And then we were also shown Glycopod here, purely because there's a crossover event happening in Pokemon GO. They're bringing Glycopod into the game for the first time, so that does make sense why we would have this. Oh, actually, before I forget, there's a Pikachu that does 90 damage and 30 to itself. It's not good, let's move on. Glycopod, though, 1 water energy, 20 damage, but if it moved from your bench to your active this turn, it does 90 more damage. I love this. And the reason I love it, stage 1 single energy. I'm thinking Zoroark decks here. I mean, I'll be honest with you, at the moment, I'm pretty much always thinking Zoroark decks, but still. Zoroark, remember, can discard itself to be replaced by any stage 1 in your discard. And if you become active, you do 110, which doubled is 220, which happens to be the magic number to get a KO on Pokemon V. So basically, if you are looking for a Water-type Pokemon to counter Fire-type Pokemon in a Stage 1's deck, Glycopod is great. I love Glycopod. I think it's really, 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 really good. I'm a big fan. And we've even got Wimpod, which says if your opponent has any Pokemon V in play, you have no retreat cost. Actually, this is really nice, because sometimes you just need a free retreating Pokemon, either on turn 1 or after you've had a Pokemon KO'd or whatever. Or, you know, to switch and then retreat into Glycopod or whatever. I like this. I like this a lot. So yeah, good times, ladies and gentlemen. Good times. I think that's all the new cards we've had here. 21 cards shown off today, and I'm fairly sure I've now shown you all of them. So now it's over to you guys. What do you think about all of these? What are your predictions for where Dragonite V-Star is coming? How much are you excited? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.